Morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. This is Tuesday, July 28th. Um, we are at an open door where we're meeting here this morning to look at A Course in Miracles daily lessons. And today we're going to skip the review. So today we're on lesson 121, which is forgiveness is the key to happiness. This gathering is based on a book that I wrote in 2019 called Training Wheels. And we have commented, all of us, several times how much we've actually grown and expanded and deepened our awareness through the years. So what I wrote in 2018 about this lesson isn't what I would have written today. And knowing all of you, whether you are here now and present or whether you're tuning in later, this lesson undoubtedly means something different to you than it did when you first read it. So when I wrote about the lesson in Training Wheels, I had the meditation or the meditator go through choosing a person that they were having difficulty with and doing a forgiveness meditation with them, finding something in the person or situation that they were having difficulty with and just finding something that they really liked about them, searching for that, and then focusing on that and enlarging that and using the forgiveness meditation in that way. But today, I think we're beyond that. I think we all already know how to do that. And the question arises for me is who is doing the forgiving? That wasn't a question I asked in 2019. Who's doing the forgiving? And what I focused on in 2019 was that in oneness, everything is perfect harmony. Therefore, there's really nothing to forgive. It's just my limited perception that makes me feel that something is off. But I still didn't really go deeply into who is doing the forgiving. And so this morning, we're going to spend a little bit of time looking at that or sinking into the presence that knows that forgiveness is really more just allowing. So welcome this morning. I'm going to read something before we start from Kat Van Odensen. And she says, when it comes to discovering the singular nature of reality, it isn't necessary to find some other, presumably better perception for this perception that you're having right now. Because what is happening now, and the presence that is having the experience right now is all that's required. There really is no change needed at all. There can't be any change, right? And Kat calls it the magnificent explosion of life being everything. And I love that. The magnificent explosion of each moment, now and now and now. Yeah, yeah. And isn't that really what the recognition of every moment, the presence is? It is just this instantaneous spark of awareness when we look at it really closely. And then it moves into something else, and then it moves into something else. So let's just sit, and I'm going to ask you to just close your eyes. You could keep them open if you want to, but I'm going to stop my video here, and I'm just going to speak. I'm going to read the lesson, and then I'm going to just sort of guide us into a 15-minute meditation or so that we can really just sit with this. The Course in Miracles begins this lesson 122, Forgiveness Offers Everything I Want, with a question. And the question is, what could you want forgiveness cannot give? Do you want peace? Forgiveness offers it. Do you want happiness, a quiet mind, a certainty of purpose, and a sense of worth and beauty that transcends the world? Do you want care and safety and the warmth of sure protection always? Do you want a quietness that cannot be disturbed, a gentleness that can never be hurt, a deep, abiding comfort, and a rest so perfect it can never be upset? And it tells us that forgiveness offers us this. And indeed, it does. But what offers us this actually is a recognition of a truth that's deeper than forgiveness. And so that's what we're going to touch. That's what we're going to try to get into touch with today. So I begin with a question, and it is, if I am not creating all that is before me, then what is? If I am not creating all that is before me, then what is? Is it God? Is it me? Is it nothing? And this is exactly where even the most intelligent minds can get lost. And where they get lost lies in the argument about good and evil. What is good? And what is its counterpoint? The truth is simple, but it requires acceptance of the idea and the logic of oneness. Oneness requires that when I forgive you, it is always also myself that I am forgiving. When you forgive me, you are always and without fail forgiving yourself. There is no good or evil in oneness. This is a really tough one for many people. There is no good or evil in oneness. Love has no opposite. And if we do not understand that everything is love, we cannot transcend the dream. All events are neutral in truth or good in truth. If neutral is the best you can do, then stay with neutral. It requires a certain maturity to see this and to accept it. But it is also the key to happiness. Forgiveness is allowing. A child wants protection from her parents. She wants protection. A teenager blames her parents. A teenager blames her parents. An adult sees themselves as the parent and remembers that they were once a child and once a teenager and now appreciates what it's like to be responsible. Are you the child? Are you the teenager? Or are you the parent? Are you the child that seeks protection? Are you the teenager that blames? Or are you the parent that holds the child and the teenager and the responsibility all at once? That sees it all. Yesterday, we learned a concept, or we learned that a concept of the self, the small s self, is meaningless. And we learned that thoughts, or the usual content of the mind, are also meaningless. Unless we ask one question, and that question is, what came or what existed in me before the thought? We read yesterday that salvation can be seen as nothing more than the escape from concepts. Salvation does not concern itself with the content of mind, but with the simple statement that thought is occurring. As you sit now, no matter what you're doing, just notice, is thought occurring? If it's occurring, that's fine. Just notice. This is about as close as a course gets. It says, what is observing that thought? What can observe that thought? And what observes that thought, which I will call presence, has a choice. It can believe the thought, or it can choose to just allow the thought and rest as presence. Really, only two choices. A Course in Miracles tells us that what is real cannot be threatened, and that what is real is unchanging. And this is what it means when it says we can escape from the content of mind. This singular reality that is already here, never absent, and being itself without any effort. And this is where forgiveness has its origin. Presence, the knowing of pure being, which is the very thing that is here right now in this magnificent explosion of life, being everything. Once you know this presence and this beingness, and it can only be now that you know it, then you know that fear is just a thought. And forgiveness has no fear. So what I'm going to do now is read the last words of the final vision, and I'm going to ask that we just sit with them. I do not know the thing I am, and therefore do not know what I am doing, where I am, or how to look upon the world or on myself. Yet in this learning is salvation born, and what you will tell you and what you are will tell you of itself. I do not know this thing I am. When I say that I do not know this thing that I am opening. I am creating a gap. And in that gap, the true self or the Holy Spirit can enter. So as we sit in silence, if a thought arises, be the presence in which the thought arises. This ground of being, it's never absent because it's the very basis of your awareness. I do not know this thing I am. What am I? Sinking a little deeper, watching the breath. What am I? Allowing what you are to tell you of itself. And just aware of the breath. And thoughts arise, and sensations arise. And that's fine. They arise in the presence that you are. To sink into the presence, into the space. Is it difficult to sit? What is arising? Just let it come up. Notice that your beingness continues to be regardless of what is appearing. Just notice this. And notice how nothing needs to change for this presence to be itself. Nothing needs to be corrected. Nothing needs to be done. Forgiveness offers everything I want. Does this presence, this deep awareness of being, does it need to forgive anything at all? Notice what arises in the space of being. Let it arise, and then just do what it needs to do. It will move of itself. And now in this being, in this presence that you are, ask if there's anything that needs to be forgiven. Just ask and notice what arises. It could be a person, it could be an event. It could be something within yourself. It could be something that appears to be outside yourself. Do you need to forgive yourself? Someone else? Something else? Whatever it is, Let it arise. And let it move in the pure presence of your being. Allow it to be. Give it space and let it go. I do not know the thing I am, and therefore do not know what I am doing, or where I am, or how to look upon the world or on myself. Yet in this learning is salvation born, and what you are will tell you of itself. You are that which forgives, and you are that which needs to be forgiven. And in that recognition, you are one. And so we are complete. William, good morning.
Good morning. But you know what? Where is that quote that you kept reading? I do not know who I am. I do not know. I just love that. And what comes up for me is I would just like to resonate and absorb that some more. So I was wondering, is that what you wrote in your training wheels, or is that? I just love the way that sounded.
Oh, it's phenomenal. That is from chapter 31, The Final Vision. It's section 5 and it's paragraph 17. I'll put it in the quote. Yeah, it's page 915 in the purple book. Do you have the purple
Okay.
book?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, it's
9:15.
right
Thank you.
there.
Thank you. That
Yeah,
was such a gift. I feel it right down. Thank you.
thank you. I love that too. Um,
And could I just add one note?
sure.
I saw Alka here. I got so much yesterday from Alka's sharing. And to me, it just felt so true. The truth was coming through her joy at just acknowledging what had been going on in her life, the resentment. It was just one of those thoughts that she was now outside of. And I tell you, it's hearing someone else say what I couldn't listen to in myself. And I
Mhm.
just, it resonates. So, Alka, wherever you are, I just love it, love it, love it. Thank you.
I think she's left us for the time
Yeah.
being, but yeah, thank you. I agree with that. She rarely does that. So when she does share like that, we really want to listen. Yeah. Good morning, Rana.
Good
How are you
morning,
doing?
Amy. Good morning, everyone. Boy, that was something else here. That was powerful, Amy. Thank you.
Thank you.
There's been a theme running, in what seems the relative personal with an issue. And everything I've been hearing this week and at an open door is just building on understanding in just such a great way, and what existed in me before the thought, and that's really simplicity. Simply, this one has been struggling with thoughts, with memory thread, you know. And I loved that you talked about the child, the teenager, and the adult, because Cindy and I had this conversation yesterday, and I asked her for the feedback after she allowed me to share. And what she said to me is, "You are not a teenager. So this didn't happen to you." And the shift, it was like, whoa. And then she went on to say the stickiness of it is so personal, right? And identifying with the small s self, right? Just right there. There it is. And what is the solution? Forgiveness is salvation, right? And so there's been a process going on here of forgiveness. First, the me and them forgiveness, which you clearly pointed out. If they need forgiveness and I need forgiveness, then we're one. Everybody needs it. It's all the same thing. But then to take that step deeper, right? And in the meditation, you asked us to question, who am I? And a few things arose, but what really anchored in was, I am now. Now, the space now. So you pointed to the fact that while I'm there, I have two choices when these thoughts arise, right? I can believe the thought. Like, I've heard this a million times. I can believe the thought, or I can just allow it and rest as presence. So as I have been doing that over the past 48 hours or so, what's coming, is forgive yourself for not knowing the truth, for being tricked by the illusion of separation. How could you have known? Because that's the real problem here, is that the story is keeping separation in place. And boy, it's an old story. And it's a good one, right? So the ego has now brought that one here. And that stickiness is starting to clear up a lot, because I'm understanding what we all are is pure innocence. It goes back to the character thing, the characters in the play. Even the little self is an NPC, you know, but I've been convinced that it's a point of view that's mine, you know, really powerful stuff. And there's just one other tidbit I'd like to throw in there. Here's where the ego gets crazy. When you say it's not good or evil in oneness, the mind says, what about the word benevolence? People throw that around a lot, that this is a benevolent universe. So where does that fit in the words good and evil? Again, I think it has to do with terms. And what's coming for me here is it might be a useful exercise for me to look up all three of those words and sit with them and see what answer comes rather than expecting you to tell me.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it was beautiful. And I had a May moment where my hands just went up, May.
Oh, I love that.
And I stretched and I sat like this for like 3 minutes during that. And I just sent May love. I said, thank you for showing me, May. Thank you for showing me. So Love you all.
Thank you, Rana. It's really good to have you here. You know, when we read yesterday, and Cindy, I know your hand is up, in paragraph 13 of section 5, it says it doesn't, it talks about the steps, these steps, but it says all these steps do not yet approach a basic question. Something must have gone before these concepts of the self, and something must have done the learning which gave rise to them, right? So before, as you say so often, what is before the thought? You say that all the time. And that's the pure presence. It is a mystery. It is. I do not know what I am. And when I say I do not know what I am, that just gives space for the intelligence, the benevolence, the loving kindness of the source to enter in that space. That is actually a really gentle request for help when I say, I don't know what I am. It's so okay to do that. I don't know, but I know that I am. And that's where oneness is found, because none of us knows the answer to that question, but we all know that we are. And that is a completely level playing field, right? And so there have been at least 3 times this week where I have blamed somebody. I have wanted to blame somebody. I actually have blamed somebody for something that they did to me. But in going back to, I don't know what I am, she doesn't know what she is. Is anyone really at fault here? Just opening to that question. What dropped in for that was seeing it from her perspective. And I didn't try to do that. There was no effort on my part for that. Suddenly it just came to me, oh, she's really trying hard to do what she said she would do. And I see that in a different way. Do I know I'm right? No, no. And forgiveness is born in that not knowing, right? Because then I'm open to the possibility that there's another way of looking at it. And that softens the heart right there. So Cindy and then John. Good morning, Cindy, again.
Good morning, Amy, again. There's a lot of confusion in my space. It's like, for those that know the metaphor, the jar, there's the clear water with the mud on the bottom, and when it's all really muddy. So forgive me because I really don't know. Um, one of the things I just wanted to say is one of the things I did this morning was listen to the podcast you're going to be leading us through the discussion of on Thursday. And in that 30-minute experience with Helen Hamilton, she clearly stated, she just called it the mind. I call it the I am separate mind. It helps me. But she said it's a tool, it's not who you are, and all these thoughts you think you're thinking are just in this mind, right? So a lot of that informed me during this meditation. The mind is just talking to itself, and I am the infinite divine presence that holds the mind, but it is not identified with the mind. Um, so that was useful. So if you haven't experienced that podcast yet, I've heard of a number of people who have chosen to sit with it more than once. So it's very easy to be with. The other thing is, Amy, and this is just part of the confusion. I think we were on 121, but then I heard you talk about 122, and I don't know if you merged both lessons or if I was just in an alternate universe. So I
I,
just wanted to say that out loud.
forgiveness is the key to happiness, right? That's all right.
Yeah. Um, but that's all I got for now. It's just a lot of gratitude and spaciousness and love. Thank you for this. And I'm
Yeah, it's
glad for
121.
this. Yeah.
It's 121. Um, Thank you, Cindy. You know, it's really funny, John. I see your hand is up. I just want to say several times, um, you know, when we offer to step up and I say this for myself, when I offer to step up and do Tuesday mornings, um, I don't always know what I'm going to do. I plan for it beforehand, but I don't know in the moment what's going to come up, right? And there's fear that comes up. I mean, I I'm I turn my camera off because I don't want to watch myself because then I start responding to the picture. And I notice sometimes that people are doing other things while I'm trying to lead a meditation. And so I that makes me worry that I'm not doing this right, you know, that I haven't provided a good space for people to relax in. Right? And then I think, who's witnessing this fear? Who's aware of this fear? It's just pure being. It's just it's just arising in the awareness of the I am. And I recognize that that fear and that discomfort is just getting the way of listening for guidance about what to say next. Right? And so in what I love about doing this is that it gives me practice to go out in the world then and walk down the street or into the store or into a situation where something unexpected arises. And once again, I call upon that pure being. It's all arising in the pure being. And I know that because I've already done it. And I've done it over and over and over again. And that's the only way. So I just want to share that. And yeah, yeah. And any one of you can do this and do it all the time. You know, we do it all the time. John, good morning.
Good morning, Amy. Good morning. And it's the only way for you.
For
But
me.
everybody has their only way. But first of all, I just want to acknowledge you for when we first came on, you said you're going to be doing meditations. And I thought, oh, where are we going with this? And no words. And then I realized later, you know what I got, Amy? The thing that I love the most is I got words and meditations. And I'll tell you how I got that because there's so many pauses that you give in your presentation. It forces me to stop and think, just when you've paused. And so the meditation in that, I got both of them. So I just want to give you that feedback. Yeah, hey, man, those pauses mean a lot because they enroll me and hopefully others in their internal dialogue and maybe directing it in ways that's more useful. So yeah, that was awesome. Yeah, and one of the reasons I put my hand up is simply because when you're asking this identity question, who am I? Blah blah blah. What come to me is the lesson yesterday. I am divine presence. And Cindy just mentioned that just now from Helen. I am presence. But I am divine. I am divine presence 3 times. I am divine presence. Just owning that and being able to say that in answer to that Whether I know what that means or not, I don't know. But I can, but just by saying it, I'm acknowledging the divine presence in me. And it's, like it's opening a small gap for me there, just a reminder. And it's what do I need to be reminded of? Of my need for forgiveness. And that's where, it's so important that section you brought up, about the gap for forgiveness. Because what happened yesterday was really important. It reminded me just to be on this call when Sandra mentioned about the daughters and the women. That triggered me. That triggered me because because of that, I realized that's your baggage, John, daughters and women. So this is where I have my forgiveness to be going on. And it took me to a deeper level on my forgiveness at a deeper level about the stories that I have made up, not as a teenager or a young person, but as a toddler. Just they're toddling along, making up their stories. And how they've bound me. And asking forgiveness for making up these for what occurred in those perceptions, not conceptions, but perceptions that I made up just about what I saw and heard, as a toddler, and how that bound me. So and then having the ability to come to a group like this and just asking, please help me remember the truth. Remember the truth, who I am. Forgive me for my toddler stories, but help me remember the truth, who I really am. And this is where I get Livy, and I get Regis, and I get Alice, and I get William, and I get everybody reminding me of the truth of who I am on the calls. So that's basically what I'm alerting you to. This is a very, very valuable lesson, Amy, and thank you for the pauses and the opportunity to allow me to go deeper. And May, by the way, I love to see you, May. You showed up again. Ha ha. We'll see you next time.
Thank you, John. Good morning, Livy. You keep skipping around.
I know.
There you go.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. When, it was in around 2017 when I started seeing a therapist for my anxiety, and that's when it was uncovered that I needed to feel the emotions that I had stuffed for so long. And that's when I was first introduced to a program called Adult Children of Alcoholics and Dysfunctional Families. And they deal with, the toddler, the teenager, and the goal is to become the loving parent that you never had. And now I see that as just all the parts of me that were blocked from love and that need love and need to just express and get the feelings out. And so I don't look at it so much as a separateness of each of the different things, as just a part of the whole that were blocked from love. And so today it's just pouring that love on there. And I thought about Cindy the past couple of days because it's really been dropping in receiving and what it means to receive in every moment, and being open to receiving, and in a way that I understand deeper than I ever did before. And just kind of being is receiving, just being open to receiving what's in front of me. And so I'm grateful for the guidance that I've gotten. And I remember, also in 2017, my tendency in relationships was always to just completely lose myself. And I remember saying one night, I don't know who I am. And today it's, what am I? It's not who am I? It's what am I? And I love resting in that and just being brought back into the truth of what is. And for me, it's all love. Everything, it's, it's all God. God is love. It's all love. Everything is love. And love can be painful. It can be, there can be the feelings that come along with it. And I don't attach to that. I just am more curious about it and allowing that to be released. And but the I love the not knowing and being okay to rest in just not knowing, and in that way really being open to receive. And yeah, so I hope that made sense. So thanks for letting me share. And that was beautiful. Thank you, Amy.
It did make sense. And the next section here is called Recognizing Spirit. And it asks a question. It says, are you invulnerable? Are you invulnerable? And if the answer is yes, then it says, then the world is harmless in your sight. And part of doing these meditations and going in a little more deeply to really recognizing the unchanging aspect of your own being. A course says nothing real can be threatened, right? And what is real, a course tells us, is unchanging. And so we go deeper into finding that which is unchanging within our own being. And that which is unchanging, which is the pure presence, that witness, which has never, never left us, and which is effortless and so close that we often overlook it. That is eternal. The non-dual teachers will ask, can you ever remember that being born? No, it's just always been. Can you remember that ever dying? Has it ever not been? No. And so that is what looks upon the world with invulnerability, right? That is what knows that it is invulnerable. And so that in the meditation is why we try to reach that place in the stillness. And then from that witnessing awareness, just watch what comes up. Just watch what the universe presents to us. And then chapter 31, the end says, in this learning is salvation born. And what you are will tell you of itself, right? What you are will tell you of itself. Right? So, Alice, thank you for your patience. Good morning.
Good morning. That was just so rich, Amy. It really does. That the material and the guidance and the meditation, and the one I went to but as William asked, I went to go to the text, and it was I just wanted, it says it is to this unsealed and open mind. And the unsealed just sort of like lit up and pulsated, and brought me some awareness of like, we talk about blocks that are constructed out of concretized concepts, and I had this sensation of like hiding behind this wall of these bricks that are the unsealed nature of my thoughts, where where I think my concept is absolute. Like nobody can be trusted. I had an experience pretty young of, okay, yeah, I'm just going to be cynical, because there was just some untruths being in the family, right? So you can't believe anybody. I think I was 10 years old or something, and how solidified that has been in my concepts, of untrust, not trusting, and so I just think I just want to talk about that one word, the unsealed mind. Of course, it's open and free and dissolving, like John talked about, like his finding his um, male female thing, which would have reminded me that would have been a solidified, like it's always the women picking on the men or whatever, whatever his picture it was, or but I just feel like I wanted to share that, and it's like there's, I think at the end of the tale, the end of the story, in applying forgiveness, because um it's like there, like with your story about whatever discord you had with somebody, that there's nothing to forgive. It's just myself for my misperceptions or my made up bullshit, of what I say, um, the upset is within me. So I don't know. I just want to thank you for this experience this morning. I thought it was just super, super rich. And I think I'm just um, going to keep my focus on my unsealed mind.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, pure presence is unsealed, isn't it? It's just total open being. Total open being, right? Anything can arise in it. It's completely invulnerable. It can absorb, not absorb, it can allow anything to arise. It's the only thing that never changes. Right. So if that's the truth of what we are, of what we all are, then we can ask, who forgives? Who is forgiving? What am I? And who forgives? William, you're going to close us out.
Well, I feel like I'm really at a point of knowing and clarity. There are two different kinds of I don't know. And early this morning, I'm so aware of this image, this role that was prescribed for me. Not only I have images as a child, 6 months of old, my baby picture and my father's baby picture. At 1 year old, my baby picture and my father's baby picture. Talk about I am my father. I will be my father. I should be my father. I should be. Talk about that. I see this so clearly now. It's just like I can taste it. And then I didn't know who I was. I couldn't have known. I was being told and programmed and pounded into me, this is who I am. So I just took on this role. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just whatever I've been told. I've been told. You know better. You know better. Someone knows better. And what I see is that I don't know, but I'm supposed to know. And now what I'm seeing is it's shedding that. It's like, wait a minute. I really, really don't know. I no, it's I just I. I'm just I now. Now. I don't know. Not I should know. And the freedom. I can just be me. I don't
Yeah.
have to measure up to anybody. That's all your stuff. And then forgiveness, all those things that forgiveness. Oh man, it reminds me of how Diedrich Walls just how it just melts. I melt in that. So I just wanted to share that it's just like wipes the slate clean, and
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
and then I grab it. Okay,
Thank you. Thank you. You know, it's so funny. I've always kind of had a bit of empathy for the John Smith the sixth. It's like you're the sixth John Smith. Oh my gosh. You know, or William Hutcherson the fourth, whatever. It's just like that's a big weight to carry on your shoulders. Yeah. Oh my goodness. All right. Well, many blessings to all of us, and thank you for being here. And who's going to lead us in an hour?
Chuck.
Chuck. Okay. All right. Thank you all. We'll see you soon.